Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters in Islam. Welcome to another inspiring video. Today, I bring you the story of Joni, who reverted to Islam via TikTok.
So, about 4 months ago, I started seeing Muslims on my TikTok For You page, and then I realized I knew literally nothing about Islam. The area in which I grew up in is literally the opposite of diverse, so due to my lack of exposure, I literally knew nothing about the religion.
So, Joni was brought up in a Christian family, but this did not stick with her for long. In one video, she says that she became an atheist who didn't believe in the existence of a God somewhere. She basically didn't care much about that. Fast forward a few years back, she was stuck in a really bad place and desperately in search of a way out. Her desperation for a way out led her to having several attempts at suicide. Life can really push you that far sometimes. According to her, two things were the catalysts to her convert story, but the details are better left unsaid.
So at this point, I just said to God, like, I don't know if you exist, I don't know who you are, but please guide me and please help me.
In the height of her crisis, she prayed to God to deliver her from her life problems. That prayer marked the beginning of her life turning around for the better. Prior to her conversion to Islam, Joni was someone that was easily broken by challenges. She would cry at the slightest confrontation of any problem. It was obvious that that had to stop. And whether we admit it or not, the answer to some of our problems are often found in the most unexpected place. Our journey through life is a step by step action towards fulfilling our destiny. What is even more captivating about this story is that she was introduced to Islam in a negative way. Before you dwell too much on that, remember the promise of Allah to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Surah Al-Qasas, Quran chapter 28, verse 56, and I quote, "Indeed, O Muhammad, you do not guide whom you like, but Allah guides who He wills, and He is most knowing of the rightly guided." Allah guides whom He wills, and this includes those who think they are undeserving of guidance. Coming back on the topic, Joan's first real attention on Islam was on the usual negativity being spread by the ill informed. This projected her from just an atheist to almost an Islamophobe. Subhanallah.
And then, like, a year later, I was introduced to Islam in a negative way. I'm not gonna go into further detail about this, but I literally became an Islamophobe. I was so mad at Islam. I hated Muslims. Astaghfirullah.
But instead of the negative message making a lasting negative impact it was meant to make, the end result was a deep reflection that led her to seek for the undistorted answers to many questions she had. Fast forward to last Ramadan 2021. Her curiosity to know more about Islam, and when I say more, I mean the truth, led her to a few Muslims on TikTok, a community of Muslims on the video sharing social network. After meticulously doing her research on Islam and other religions for months, on August 26th of 2021, she started learning the Surah Al-Fatiha, mashallah. The peace that comes with being back to where you belong cannot be overestimated. It's like coming back home after a long, hard journey that had no purpose. According to one of her videos she shared on the platform, she highlighted the major noticeable changes she's had in her life within the span of 3 months. She hasn't cried in months. She has also not worried about small issues like she used to, being at peace. She's had to eat halal foods, which is quite hard to source around her.
I haven't cried in 3 months. I used to cry like every day. Out of sadness. Not like in sujood. No, that doesn't count. I don't complain anymore about like very minor things that don't matter. I used to complain so much for no reason. I don't really get discouraged anymore. I always say Alhamdulillah, I'm always grateful. Like before I used to like get a grade that I'm not satisfied with and then I would like cry for like a week straight.
This made me remember the promise of Allah in Surah Al-Ankabut, Quran chapter 29, verse 2. Do people think that they will be let go merely by saying we believe and that they will not be tested? None of the promises of Allah will ever go unfulfilled. The reason why we are always at peace as Muslims is because everything that happens to man is the will of Allah for such to happen. Nothing happens for no reason, and when we realize this, we accept the things we can't change and pray that the no so good destiny should be changed to a better one, or at least the strength to accept when it eventually happens. Alhamdulillah. It is evident that Joni is a firm believer in this lesson, and the result speaks about its effectiveness. In another video, she talked about death being her greatest fear because accepting Islam, not knowing that what lies ahead after death is even more scarier. Non-Muslims see death as the end of life, and because of that, they think that they get away with being a terrible fellow to other humans and commit atrocities as if there's no accountability. But alhamdulillah for Islam, because the fear of accountability in the afterlife makes us better humans. Joni has gone to create video content that teaches some of the lessons she finds inspiring from the Quran, and some that disapproves some of the more frequent lies and misconceptions about Islam to educate others who were in her position. Islam, as we all know, has experienced a lot of slander since the time of the noble Prophet ﷺ, and this has not stopped till today. Rather, it has gone worse, due to the availability of a tool that amplifies the effect of every message passed, either right or wrong, the social media. Alhamdulillah for the life of our sister Joni, and inshallah more people will see the light before they die if Allah wills. I hope you have learned something inspiring today, because I have, and I hope to see you next time. MashaAllah.